Welcome to your morning cup of cyber. Let's see who's online again. Facebook, quick to get online. Here goes Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I never know when Twitch is coming on because it takes so dang long for it to go. Welcome to your pre-Independence Day cup of cyber. Good morning, I'm Jim with Cyber-Recon. Welcome to your morning cup of cyber. We're going to talk about the news and more. I'm not sure who's all out there in the ether. Since it is a holiday, federal holiday, not a lot of people are getting up to watch the news at 7:30, so we may not have a ton of live interaction. But that's okay by me. We'll see. We got one person. I bet that's Paul. I would bet money that that's Paul out there watching from the ether. Yep, there it is. Good morning. It's Paul. We got probably a short broadcast today, just because it is a holiday and we'll get going. So let's throw the intro and we'll be right back. It is Friday and we wear red on Friday. Got the red coffee cup, the gigantic red coffee cup. We still need to figure out how to give this thing away. Not this one, of course. The other one, the one in the box, the brand new one. The new, ready to go one. Gigantic, 30 ounces of coffee. Get you going in the morning. This is the cup for the commuter, though. So let's get looking at the news. Always the step to set up. Let's throw that over there. Let's put this up here, and let's jump into the news. This is the news, of course, as of about 7:15 this morning. Samuel, good morning. Don't know if you've been on this yet. The channel. At least I don't remember putting you on screen. Good morning, Samuel. Good morning, Paul. Happy pre-Independence Day Eve. Happy 4th, my guy. That's some good coffee. So, first story. Gotta love this. Evil Corp. If you watched the show Mr. Robot, you know that Evil Corp was the corporation in that. So Evil Corp is a group out there. Evil Corp Gang. Love some of these names. The good thing about this is it was stopped, right? So that's the good part. But Evil Corp hacked into dozens of U.S. newspaper websites owned by some of the same company to infect employees of over 30 major private firms using fake software, update alerts displayed in the malicious sock-gaulish JavaScript-based framework. And this is a framework we talked about before. I think we talked about it last week or the week before. So this is, if you're on a web page, that you get that pop-up that says, hey, your software is out of date, and it may be, it may be Adobe, it may be Microsoft. It's going to pop up an alert that says, hey, your software is out of date, and you're primed for an attack. And it's really fake, of course it's fake. It's JavaScript that's popping up. The bad guy's got to get you on their site or a site that they've compromised. So once a user clicks on this, obviously the JavaScript runs and it installs the evil code, right? So researchers with Symantec's threat intelligence team discovered these attacks and say that the company who owns the compromised news sites was alerted and the malicious code was removed. So the good thing about this is it was a ransomware attack. Evil Corp ran this against at least 31 customer organizations. And obviously the story from Bleeping Computer. Yeah, the story from Bleeping Computer says 31 were detected. They say that it was 31, but it's probably, or it's 31 or more, at least 31. So they're assuming it's far more than 31. 5 of them manufacturing, 4 of them were information technology, telecommunications was 3, and of course the 11 news sites. The nice thing is it was detected before Evil Corp had a chance to lock up the files. Symantec said that the Evil Corp started with this framework, sock-gaulish, being used to infect targets who visit over 150 hacked websites. So the first step in this attack is obviously compromising a website and then placing this fake JavaScript on that website, and then kind of like a watering hole attack, waiting for folks from these corporations to visit those sites and hopefully get them to click on that JavaScript button saying that their software is out of date. So the big lesson here, again, as we go back to, it's training your users, training your users, training your users. Get them to only get their updates from known reputable sites, and hopefully you have, within your organization some type of patch management system where users don't even have to worry about patching their systems. They do it on their own, right? So after the companies got infected, the hackers used Cobalt Strike, threat emulation software, and living off the land techniques to steal credentials, escalate privileges, and move across the network with the end goal of encrypting the computers. Obviously, that's with these ransomware attacks, that's what they want to do. They want to lock up your data. They also they just disabled Windows Defenders and did some other things to disable protective measures on the networks. The funny thing is, they're saying, it's not funny, I guess. The point to make here is they used a lot of living off the land. So they used legitimate tools, including PowerShell, which is enabled in a lot of organizations on a lot of people's desktops. And the PowerShell is what they use to turn Windows Defender off. So that's the living off the land. That's really what you don't want to do. You don't want to have tools on your network that the attacker can use to get in there and do malicious activities on your network with your own tools, with tools you left on the network. So it's bad stuff. So we look at this, obviously the why they're doing this is they want the money. These guys, Evil Corp, they want to lock up your files. They want you to pay the ransomware, and if you don't pay the ransomware, then of course they're going to release your files on one of the sites like we talked about yesterday with Maze, putting your data out there for everyone to see. How we can defend against it is, train your users. We've got to train users. We've got to have anti-malware software installed. And then, obviously, we do configuration management. We remove those tools that aren't needed on our systems. If you don't need PowerShell, make it so PowerShell is disabled on the end user workstation. Or get it to run with less privileges if you can. PowerShell's a tough one. It's a tough one to work with. But that'll help. Luckily, these 31 corporations, the attack was stopped. Now it's the cleanup. The files were not encrypted. The company didn't have to pay ransomware. Hopefully, the data wasn't taken off. But obviously, if you've been compromised to this point, they've already been on your network. They've already moved around laterally with permissions. They've already disabled BitLocker, or they've already disabled Windows Defender. Your whole system, essentially, you have to consider it compromised. Now it's cleanup. Now you have to go back through and get all that stuff taken off. It's rebuilding systems. It's scanning for malicious code still being out there. It's bad stuff. So it's just bad. Alex, I don't know if that's Alex out there on Twitch. I'm going to assume that if we have one person on Twitch, it's going to be Alex until somebody tells me otherwise. So that's it. I think funny about this one, and I might have said it at the beginning, if you didn't hear maybe I weren't here. Evil Corp, if you watch Mr. Robot, Evil Corp was the evil corporation in that show, I think. I don't know if it's still on or not. But this Evil Corp gang is using that name. Second in our top stories of the morning is DHS sharing data on top cyber threats to federal agencies. And this comes from the organization I've told you is the worst, in my opinion, the worst named organization in the government, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA. Oh, see, this is why I don't like it. It's not the Certified Information Systems Auditor, which is a certification that's been around a long time. It's actually the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. So every time I see CISA, I think about the certification. And of course, along with that, this is news. This is what your government's doing for you. They're releasing the shared threats across the what they're seeing with the Einstein program. And the Einstein program was started as a way that the government could essentially monitor their systems using classified indicators of compromise to see what is coming in as threats. It's in its third iteration now, and mostly it uses commercial tools to determine what threats are coming in. So they moved away from this using specialized classified indicators of compromise, and they're just using what everybody else is using. So that's the first thing we need to know. Einstein is moving on to more of a normal threat management SIEM IDS kind of tool, and they're saying that 3 threats contributed 90% of active signatures detected on Einstein. So they've analyzed all the information from the government agencies being attacked, and they say these 3 tools are 90% of the attacks they see. So it's Net Support Manager Remote Access Tool, or RAT. We've talked about that. Coveter, Trojan, and the one we talk about just about every morning is the XMRig crypto miner, which is if you don't get attacked by ransomware and you get attacked by crypto miner, this is XMRig is more than likely what they're going to use to drop on your system, to start using your system resources to mine for cryptocurrency. The story goes on. There's a lot of good stuff in the story. It talks a little bit about Einstein. One of the big things that I want to point out here is the government's trying to help, but this data, and they've included snort signatures, so you can put the signatures on your snort terminals or your snort IDS to look for these vulnerabilities, to see if they're on your network. But the problem is this list is from May, so it's over 30 days old. Is it currently what the top threats are? I don't know. So it's one of those things. They go on to talk about each of them. The malicious RAT, which is not really malicious. It's the Net Support Manager Remote Access Tool, which is a legitimate tool. And when we talk about RATs, we know that a lot of times those RATs are legitimate tools being used for illegitimate reasons. So that's one thing. It's just, it's a tool that's used for remote access, remote management of systems. It's a legitimate tool, but in this case, it's being installed so folks can compromise systems, can install other things, can keep track of what you're doing maliciously. The second one is Coveter, and it's a fileless attacks tool used for click fraud. Biggest thing with that one, it's also a downloader for other malicious software, including ransomware. And then the last one, XMRig. Obviously, it's used a lot of times when we see these dropped onto systems once they're compromised and used for crypto mining. Monero is the cryptocurrency this one makes. So CISA, the folks with the worst name in the government, according to me, of course, are the folks that are sharing the information. I wish, and I can understand why they don't. It would be nice that if they provided a service like this, it was more recent than a month plus old. At least they're doing something. So you can get the snort definitions, and you can scan for them on your network and look for them on your IDS. Make sure that if they show up on your network, you're able to at least identify them and react to them. So those are the top 3. It's weird that these 3, and I'm assuming that the government is a good representation of the rest of the organizations out there. So if 90% of the attacks against the government are these 3 tools, we can assume those are probably about the same numbers for the rest of us. So we need to worry about remote access tools. We need to worry about these downloaders, these malware downloaders. And the other thing about Coveter is it's fileless. It lives in memory. So it's once you recycle, it's going to go away, reboot your system. But the other thing, it's really hard to detect. It's hard to find it. And then XMRig. XMRig is going to be out there crypto mining, using your resources. The big thing about crypto mining, they're not trying to, with crypto miner, that piece of it at least, they're not trying to disable your system. They're not trying to lock up your files like they do in ransomware. They just want to use your resources to crypto mine, which means your business applications may take a backseat to the crypto mining process. So obviously, and if we see any of these things on our network, we see any of these things on our systems, we can assume that the system is compromised and needs to be rebuilt, refreshed, taken care of. So thanks for doing that, CISA. Again, I don't know. They're never going to change their name, but that's the way of the world. And third up today, our last kind of a story coming out of the cyber world. 16 Facebook apps were caught secretly sharing data with third parties. This article is from ZDNet. As always, all the links to these articles are shared in the show notes below. But a team of academics at Iowa State University, I believe, University of Iowa, different one, used what they're calling the Canary Trap project. Uses the concept of a honey token, and basically what they did, they it's an academic paper, so they, honey token. What they did is they used some fake accounts. They installed some applications. They let the applications run for about 15 minutes. Then they uninstalled the application and they watched for emails to come in from a third party, someone not associated with that application and not associated with Facebook or anyone they signed up for. So the assumption is that if they got a notification from a third party that they didn't consent to, then that organization that ran the application that they downloaded and installed for 15 minutes and then uninstalled is sharing unauthorized information with a third party. And they're all listed here. They're listed in the article from ZDNet, obviously, like I said, in the show notes. They did point out a distinction, though. They said maybe it's not, and I don't know if this is better or worse, maybe it's not that they're in an unauthorized method sharing your information. It's maybe just that their systems have been compromised, systems of the folks that made the application, which I don't think is any better. In one way or another, your information is getting to a third party, and they're contacting you by that third party stream. They looked at 1,024 Facebook apps, and they used this same process where they used a fake email account, registered for Facebook, downloaded the app, ran it for 15 minutes, uninstalled it, and then waited for emails to come in from a third party. Of the 16, 9 disclosed that they had a relationship with the email sender. It's an unrelated affiliate website or a partner. 7 apps didn't disclose they shared data with outsiders at all. And then, they found 16 apps engaged in this behavior, and they provide the list. And I was kind of surprised at some of the things on the list. One of the ones, Tom's Hardware Guide for the IT Pro. I haven't used it for a long time, but Tom's Hardware Guide, I've used that site. I haven't used their app. Another app is Hop On, Hop Off. If you've ever visited like a major city, New York or DC or any other big city, you see those red buses driving around with open on the top. Those are Hop On, Hop Off buses. And there's just a bunch of other stuff. There's 16 of them. They're listed here. The host website's listed as well. The global Alexa rank, and then also the country Alexa rank. Morning, Mike. It's nice to see you.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not, Mike, it's not YouTube. It's this Restream.io. I'm trying Restream.io because it gets me on I can stream to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook at the same time. It has a terrible time with YouTube, and I'm just trying it for maybe not even a month. I signed up for a month to see how it works, and it does that. I hate the way that it does that. It all looks good until I go live, and then when I go live, it creates another stream. So now there's people waiting on one stream, and there's another stream going. So I'm going to get a hold of the Restream folks probably next week. See what we can do, because it's ridiculous. First of all, there's a few problems with it. But yeah, thank you, Mike. Good morning, and heyo. Nice to see you. Hopefully you're off today, getting ready for Independence Day. As you know, Mike, we wear red on Friday. Hopefully you're wearing red. But that takes us to, Mike shows up just at the end of the attacks. We're talking about Facebook apps that share your data without you knowing. I'm assuming these guys in the University of Iowa went through all the EULAs, checked it out, made sure that there was no notification that they were going to share your information. Obviously, of the tons and tons of applications that are out on Facebook, we can assume that these are just, this is a representative sampling of what you can expect out. So they looked over a little over 1,000 of them and used these fake accounts. I like how they've come up with this term, honey token. Normally, that's just a piece of data that's living on your network, and that token can be tracked. In this case, they're they're using the term for a fake email account that they signed up for. They call this thing Canary Trap. It's Canary Trap white paper. Facebook has acknowledged that they're going to check the white paper out and look at it. They're going to look into it and see what is going on with Honey Trap, what the deal is with it. So that's the short and the long of the 3 stories for this morning. Not a lot, a little quiet out. There's a lot of stuff that we. The good thing is, maybe we're running in front of the news now. There's a bunch of stories we've already talked about. They're still talking about Maze out there. They're still talking about COVID-19 being the reason that a lot of people are getting phished is COVID-19. There's just a lot of articles we've already talked about. There's no reason to talk about them again unless you guys want to. But it's just it is what it is. The other thing is, let's get Facebook off the screen. The other thing, Trivia Night's coming up. It's going to be Tuesday this week instead of Wednesday. We are changing it up by one day, just because we're going to be on the road. So Tuesday night will be Trivia Night. Again, join us. It's a fun time. I think it's a fun time. Get out there. We do a lot of interaction with the folks that are playing. We watch the live stream. The live stream is where you can get the best view of the questions and answers. We'll use Soccerdiv to track the people answering the questions. And it's really good. We'll see who comes out on top. It's a fun night. So it starts at 7 p.m. East Coast time. Runs for about an hour. Get your favorite beverage and join us for a fun time with your security cohorts, your compadres, your friends and fiends, I guess. We do know there's a bunch of weird holidays today. Eat Beans Day is today. Disobedience Day, I'm definitely not touching that one. So we're going to jump right into what tomorrow is, because we won't be broadcasting tomorrow. Tomorrow's Independence Day. We know that. Hopefully we know that. Birthday of the United States of America. There's a good link in the show notes below to the History Channel talking about, July 2nd, we started. So yesterday, the Continental Congress voted in favor of independence. 2 days later, the delegates from 13 colonies adopted the Declaration of Independence. We all know John Hancock was the first person to sign it. I always like to throw this bit of trivia out there. July 4th, we signed the Declaration of Independence. In June of 1889, or 1789, excuse me, my whole 100 years off. 1789, we adopted the Constitution. So there was a period of time where we were under these Articles of Confederation. And there were 2 presidents in the Articles of Confederation between 1776 and 1789. So we kind of always leave those presidents off the roster. We don't count the first president until the president under the Constitution in 1789, which we know is George Washington. So there's 2 presidents. Hanson was one of them, but I'll leave it up to you guys to find the second president, and that's going to be your other read-ahead trivia question. We already gave one of them out earlier this week. Who was the other president besides Hanson that was president of the United States under the Articles of Confederation between 1776 and 1789? Most people leave these guys out. I figure they need a little bit of spotlight too. We like to start with George Washington, father of the country, but that was 1789. We do start the birthday of America, 1776. So, good information on this article from the history.com, the History Network. Obviously, put a lot of good stuff out there. It is, it is the 4th. Go out and do your social distancing. Take care of each other. Make sure we're staying safe out there. I knew it was going to be a short one this morning. What do you guys got? Anybody got anything this morning? I see a few people out there. Good cup of Illy coffee this morning in our gigantic red tumbler. Good cup of coffee. So, I'm going to I guess I'll call that good. I'm glad you guys could get here this morning. Glad you could be here. Oh, I do need to talk about the training. The website, the software that runs the website went through some kind of weird update, so everything's looking a little weird especially if you go into the Security Plus registration page. Everything works. It looks weird. We'll fix it over the weekend. The the RMF course, that page is fine now. Both of them are set up and ready. They should be able to get you registered for the class. If you register between now and the 19th at midnight, you get that 25% off. You also will be in the class that gets the live one-on-one interaction. That's where at the end of every domain, we'll have a live session. We'll talk about the class. We'll talk about the topics. Hit on anything that you need more refreshing on before we move on to the next domain. So that means it's in academics, I guess they call this a drip course. That means we'll release it one domain at a time. So we'll release a domain. Everybody will go through that. At the end of that time period, we'll get together, we'll talk about it, and then we'll release the next domain. So as we move through them, that keeps everybody able to talk on those live sessions. So we have the live sessions. They're focused on making sure everything in the domain is covered and you understand it all. Some of these, especially in Security Plus, Domain 1 and Domain 2 are just huge. There's a lot of information to take in. So I think the live sessions are really nice. You get those with the first round only. You get the 25% off between now and the 20th. It's all on Cyber-Recon.com. Check it out. If you sign up for Security Plus, it's wonky. It's the everything is like the full page width. It's just the update they did is messed some stuff up. RMF's out there as well. This is RMF 2.0 and CAP, so it does cover the new version of the RMF with that new, what they used to call Step 0. Now the NIST has decided to call it Prepare. We've got rid of the numbering. Now it's Prepare Step. So we prepare at the organizational level and prepare at the system level. Two kind of different things. So love to see you out there. Love to see if you're in, ready to go. Get some of this training if you haven't got it yet. So those are out there. Cyber-Recon.com. Just look at the training. Check it out. It will be live here starting the 20th of July. That those courses go live. If you're here yesterday, we took off the IT fundamentals. That'll be released a bit later. That's going to be the videos are going to be ad hoc. And of course, if you can't afford, for some reason you can't afford to sign up for one of the classes, you can always watch the videos online. You don't get the extra stuff that we just can't add to YouTube. We can't add questions and answers. We can't add the interactive videos. We can't do that stuff on YouTube just because the platform doesn't allow it. That's why we have the website. It takes a little bit of time to add those extra things, so that's why we try to keep the cost as low as we can to pay for Emily and Mako putting the webs together. So that's the rundown for today. Hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully you got good things planned for tomorrow. Love to hear about them. Love to hear about what you got going on tomorrow. Let me know on Monday what your 4th of July was like. But anyways, between now and then, be safe out there. If you can and you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button right there. Hit the bell to be notified. Share with your friends. Love to see more people here. Love to see more interaction, because that's the part that really gets us going, is when we can talk. Love to see the top performers right now on interaction. Mike Bravo, of course, Paul and Alex. Always good to see what you got to say. Always framing what these stories mean to us, what they help us get through our day. And obviously when we go out to fight the good fight with the information system owners and those business owners and users, we want to have we want to know in our mind that we got security folks to back us up every morning, at least get us pumped up and ready to go out there and get things secure. So I'm going to say, as always, be safe out there. Mike is always going to say go get some, because that's what he's all about. So Mike, Samuel, Paul, whoever's out there, I'm going to guess Alex on Twitch, because he's the only one I know on Twitch. Go have a good Independence Day or a good weekend wherever you are, and we will see you guys on Monday.